So do you approach a short shot with fear? I know a lot of golfers I teach do, and particularly as we get older, we have more mental scarring, and certainly our nervous system probably performs worse. So let me share with you a foolproof way of chipping and pitching to be successful, no matter how fragile you feel and how nervous you feel over the ball, and it can work with any lie. So what we're looking at is to make things foolproof. So essentially what we're going to do is preset a few things that make it that we have great contact and consistent flight. So to start with, I've just got a 50-degree wedge, but I want you to use a variety of clubs. We're going to play it in a way that the ball's going to come out slightly hotter and run slightly more, initially anyway. When we go to a different release, then it might come out a bit softer and more manageable in terms of the shorter, more finesse shots. But initially with the simple shot, what we're going to talk about is standing quite close to the golf ball. So you're going to feel that you're stood, much, much closer than you would do normally. If I looked at where I was stood here now, it's literally within a few club head widths of the golf ball itself. I'm going to feel like I get the toe of the club slightly pushed down in the ground and heel slightly in the air. What I'm going to feel I do is lean 70% of my weight forward, and my knees and my eyes and my sternum all being ahead of the golf ball. I'm going to lean the shaft forward opposite my lead leg. So I'm presetting a de-lofted club. And the idea in having this club de-lofted like this is twofold. One, it's going to help me hinge the club this way in the way back. So we're looking for kind of like a Phil Mickelson hinge and hold type method here to kind of guarantee contact. What I've found over the years is when guys get sort of nervous, they get very flicky and very handsy. So what we're trying to do here is really make the wrist work and behave in a certain way. Rather than trying to say don't move them, let's try and make them do what we want to do more actively. So we're going to try and push them forward, hinge, and then hold. And as we hold, we're trying to feel like we do just slightly push off the ground and push up to make sure we don't gouge the ground too much. So we're very much looking at this kind of stand closer, taller, leaning forward, hands forward. Let the wrists hinge early. So this will point very much down my forearm line. And then we're trying to hold and stand up as we hit the golf ball. So it kind of looks like this. And what you'll get from that is a real consistent flight. It'll come out quite low, it'll run quite a lot, and we're going to vary the loft to change the flight when we go to the green. So we're going to do this with a 9-iron, a 7-iron, a sand iron, a lob wedge for sure. But that is the basic premise of the video. What we're trying to almost do is get the toe of the club to interact with the ground. That creates a much safer environment for the club to work. It's a much flatter spot here than a sharp edge where the heel would create. So if this heel kind of digs in, that's going to snag. This toe will very much more bounce. We are looking to hit down on the ball, so hopefully we will get that pure contact of ball and turf as opposed to ground before the ball. But I know mistakes happen and we're going to likely mess this up, but we're very much looking at this kind of hinge and hold and stand up method to give us that predictability. And certainly with the ones we want to run, we're going to stand very close, get the shaft very vertical. When we go and play a slightly different version where we want it to be a little softer, what I'm going to get you to do is stand a little bit more normal, so the club is going to sole itself more naturally, and these hands will be a bit lower. When the hands get closer to the golf ball like this, we arch these wrists more in what we call ulnar deviation, which means the wrists work less, and the arc of the swing is much straighter. And when the arc is straighter, we need less rotational release, so it makes things a little bit easier and safer, hence the safe first shot. Now we talked briefly about the release. Now in the first one we're kind of going hinge and hold, which would be like a thumb down position here. Now in the second one we're going to go for the hinge and release. So it's very much more thumb up. Now this is going to increase the loft, which is going to make the ball fly higher and softer. But the fact we're still doing everything else the same is going to guarantee us that contact. So we're here, leaning forward, hinge, and then that release. And what we get then is that slightly more speed, but we get that softer, higher initial launched shot that's going to provide us with more success. Ooh, almost. But you see there it's quite low and quite strong. Now version 2, and again, sometimes you might need to land it just short of the green. Everything stays the same. The release changes and the ball stops a lot quicker. These two methods will help you from all different lies, but try and take out that kind of wristy action by being predictable with what the wrists do, rather than being a bit flippy floppy through the ball, which is so destructive in the short game area.